Lego was losing $1 million a day. The board had a plan: fire half the staff, sell the theme parks, and pray. But one executive thought he knew a better way. Lego is one of the most beloved brands on earth. Kids play with it, adults collect it, investors trust it. But in 2003, that trust was shattered. The company was bleeding cash so fast, bankers refused to lend more. By some estimates, Lego was losing over $1 million every single day. The board was panicking. They had two options: shrink down or disappear entirely. Most thought the end was near. How did a family-run Danish toy maker reach this cliff? The answer sounds ironic. They got too creative. Throughout the 1990s, Lego decided they weren't just a brick company. They launched theme parks. They made movies, video games, and clothing lines. They even tried action figures and dolls. Each new venture cost millions. Each failed to make real money. Diversification felt like growth. It was actually a slow bleed. Meanwhile, the core product suffered. Lego had over 13,000 different parts in production. That's insane. Every new piece meant new molds, new inventory, new complexity. The classic brick, the simple 2x4, was being neglected. Kids couldn't find the sets they wanted. Parents were confused. And competitors like Mega Bloks were eating Lego's lunch with cheaper, simpler sets. The company had lost its identity. By 2003, the crisis became impossible to ignore. Revenue had collapsed by roughly 30% in a single year. Lego was drowning in debt. Bankers demanded a restructuring plan. The board appointed a new CEO, Jørgen Vig Knudstorp. He was young, just 35. He had zero experience running a toy company, but he had one thing the old guard lacked: a willingness to face the ugly truth. Knudstorp's first move was brutal. He fired nearly a third of the workforce. Over 3,000 people lost their jobs. He sold off Lego's theme parks and video game studios. He killed dozens of product lines. The goal was survival, not sentiment. But here's where the story twists. Knudstorp didn't just cut costs. He asked a dangerous question: what if we bet everything on the brick itself? Most executives would have run from that idea. The brick was old. The market was shifting to digital. But Knudstorp saw something others missed. The brick wasn't just a toy. It was a platform. Kids used it to build stories. Adults used it to relax. Engineers used it to prototype ideas. The brick was infinitely reusable, and that gave it a secret weapon: longevity. Knudstorp radically simplified the product line. He cut the number of unique parts from over 13,000 down to roughly 6,000. He standardized colors. He reduced packaging. Every set had to prove it could sell. If a new piece didn't add clear play value, it got rejected. The rule became: make fewer things, but make each one better. This was the opposite of what most companies do in a crisis. But simplification alone wasn't enough. Lego needed a new growth engine. Knudstorp found it in an unlikely place: partnerships. They started licensing themes like Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Batman. These weren't just toys. They were story worlds kids already loved. Lego didn't need to invent new characters. They just needed to build them out of bricks, and parents were happy to pay a premium. The partnerships worked almost too well. Star Wars sets sold out within weeks. Harry Potter sets became collector items. Lego suddenly had a hit formula: take a popular movie, turn it into a brick set, and let kids recreate their favorite scenes. But here's the hidden danger. Lego was becoming dependent on other people's stories. What if the licensing fees got too high? What if the hype faded? Knudstorp saw that trap coming, so he did something genius. He started building original Lego stories. The Bionicle line was a homegrown hit. Then came Lego Ninjago, a fully in-house franchise with its own TV show. These weren't just toys, they were narrative universes. Kids didn't just buy a set, they bought into a world. And Lego owned every piece of that world, from script to shelf. The turnaround was staggering. By 2005, Lego was profitable again. By 2010, revenue had tripled. The company that nearly died was now the most valuable toy brand on the planet. But the real lesson isn't about numbers. It's about focus. Lego almost killed itself by trying to be everything to everyone. It saved itself by becoming the best at one thing: the brick. And yet, the story doesn't end there. In 2017, LEGO faced another scare. Sales dropped for the first time in a decade. The culprit? Overexpansion again. LEGO had opened too many stores, too fast. They had too many licensed sets. The core brick was getting lost in the noise. Knutstorp stepped down, and a new CEO, Niels Christensen, took the reins. The cycle was repeating. Christiansen did what Knutstorp had done 15 years earlier. He cut. He closed stores. He killed failing product lines. He refocused on the classic brick experience. He also invested heavily in sustainability, promising to make bricks from plant-based materials. The message was clear. LEGO's strength isn't in being trendy, it's in being timeless. And timeless requires discipline. What makes LEGO's story so powerful is the pattern. Every time the company strays from its core, it stumbles. Every time it returns to the brick, it thrives. This isn't just a business lesson, it's a human one. We all have a core strength, a thing we do better than anyone else. But the world pulls us to expand, diversify, and chase every shiny opportunity. LEGO shows the cost of that chase. Consider the alternative history. What if LEGO had kept diversifying? They might have become a mediocre media company with a toy division. Instead, they chose to be the best at one thing. That choice required saying no to a lot of money, theme parks, video games, clothing lines. But saying no to the wrong things is what made room for the right things. That's the hidden superpower. Here's the twist that most people miss. LEGO didn't just cut products, they changed how they thought about products. Every new set had to pass a test. Does this make a child more creative? If the answer was no, it got killed. This principle, the mission test, became their compass. It's why they can charge a premium. Parents aren't buying plastic, they're buying imagination. The mission test also explains LEGO's most surprising success, the adult market. In the 2010s, LEGO launched complex sets aimed at grown-ups. Architecture skyline kits. Mechanical vehicle models. These sets cost hundreds of dollars each, and they sold out instantly. Adults were the fastest-growing customer segment because LEGO wasn't selling toys anymore. They were selling a meditative, creative experience. But even here, temptation lurks. LEGO could have started making premium furniture or designer home decor. They didn't. They stayed in the brick lane. They expanded into video games, but only through digital versions of physical bricks. They made movies, but only about bricks. Every extension was a brick-first extension. The core never bent. It just breathed. What's the takeaway for founders today? In a world of endless growth hacks and new market grabs, LEGO's story is a counter-argument. Diversification isn't always smart. Sometimes it's a distraction. The strongest companies are often the ones that do one thing relentlessly well. They build a moat around their core. They say no to 99% of opportunities. And they make the 1% count. LEGO's near-death experience taught them a truth every leader needs to hear. Growth isn't about adding more. It's about subtracting what doesn't belong. The brick isn't just a product. It's a philosophy, a promise. And every time LEGO has kept that promise, the market has rewarded them. Every time they have broken it, the market has punished them. The pattern is that clear. So here's the final truth. LEGO didn't win because they innovated. They won because they remembered what they were. In a world obsessed with disruption, they chose discipline. They bet everything on a single brick. And that brick turned into a foundation that has lasted generations. The next time you feel the pull to expand, ask yourself, will this make my core stronger or just bigger? If you enjoyed this deep dive into LEGO's turnaround, hit subscribe to see more real business case studies. Next time, we'll look at a company that did the opposite, expanded into everything and won big. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the best move is the one that looks small.